Hello and welcome to Not Even Once, a Once Upon a Time recap podcast. I'm Bob.
And I am Seth.
And we have watched the first episode of Once Upon a Time, aptly named Pilot, as most TV shows are.
Absolutely.
And just like without getting too into everything, what are some initial thoughts that you had, Seth?
Some of the thoughts about the episode I had, first of all, I noted this several times in the notes that I took. The CGI is hilarious. I will bring up the specific examples of that as we go through the episode, but oh my god, it is amazing.
I am so excited for you to see more of it. Because it's very obvious when they're filming on a green screen set.
Yes.
And, like, obviously, they have to do that for production concerns. Like, that's part of it. Like, it's a TV show on network TV. They're not going to have, you know, this is, I mean, around the time as Game of Thrones, but they didn't have the budget that, like, HBO gave Game of Thrones.
Right.
So, like, you can definitely tell when it's an actual set and when it is, you know, a green screen with, like, a table. And that's, you know, that's just part of it. That's part of the charm of the show. Mm-hmm. And I think there are, as we go through the show, you're going to see some really big examples of that may make you laugh.
I am sure. I'm sure a lot of the green screens and CGI stuff was a lot more egregious because this is the pilot.
Yes.
But, like, oh boy, I'm excited to point these things out.
Oh yeah, no, that's, there's a reason I was very excited to start this podcast, so I could finally talk about this stuff. So, the pilot episode of Once Upon a Time was directed by Mark Mylod, who only directed this one episode of the show, and is an executive producer for the rest of the run. And then it was written by the showrunners, Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz, and it originally aired on October 23rd, 2011. I know I was a freshman in college at Ball State in 2011. It was a while ago. Huh.
Yeah, that's more than 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's fun. So anyway, so one of the things that we are going to do as we go through the show is kind of highlight, you know, a couple actors that are, you know, the featured actors. If you've already seen the show, you'll know what I mean. In that given episode, because a lot of the actors in this show immediately went on to bigger properties, things that people, like most people will know, not just Once Upon a Time. And because this is the pilot, there are a lot of them. So
you mentioned that in the episode 0 as well.
Yes. So I think what we're going to do, normally we'll probably do this as we go through the episode, but because we're going to get through all of the main characters of the show, I'm just going to go through and go through each of the principal actors, go through their history, where you might know them from, and all that fun stuff. Mm-hmm. So first up is Emma, who is played by Jennifer Morrison. Jennifer was the first choice for Emma, although Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica got very far in the casting process. So that would have been a different show. Mm-hmm. Jennifer Morrison was born in Chicago and went to Loyola University, which is less than a mile from where we're recording, which is pretty cool. She is most known for playing Cameron on House. With Hugh Laurie. Okay. And then also, she guest starred on How I Met Your Mother as the sea captain's wife. That Ted gets, like, very, very close into cheating with.
Yes.
The sea captain played by, what's his name from Twin Peaks?
Kyle MacLachlan.
I could not tell you. I am awful with actors and names.
But yeah, he's, it's like, when I realized that was her, I was like, oh, weird. Because that ran, I think, the same time she was on House.
Oh. So
yeah, she was doing a lot of network TV around that time, which good for her. That's some good money.
Get that syndication.
Right? She also played Chris Pine's mother in the 2009 Star Trek movie.
Oh.
With Chris Hemsworth playing Captain Kirk's dad.
Oh, wow. That's a family that I want to be part of.
Right? So when she was a kid, she was on the cover of Sports Illustrated Kids with Michael Jordan. I will post this when the episode goes up, but I do have a screenshot of it. And hold on, let me pull it up.
How old was she?
She couldn't have been more, like, older than 10.
Oh my God.
I'm pulling it up right now on our end just so I can show Seth. But yeah, it's like, there she is. She's full tongue out with Michael Jordan. I guarantee they did not shoot this together.
Oh, wow. The Clarissa explains it all of it all.
There she is. That's Emma Swan.
Side ponytail. Oh, my God.
It's very 90s. In Michael Mania, we'll post this to our socials so you can see, because it's a very fun cover.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, she was like a child model, like child actor kind of stuff. I think her biggest role was on House. Like, that's kind of where she kind of got notoriety. But she's also a producer in Hollywood and helped get the spec script for Glee into Ryan Murphy's hands. So we can blame her for Glee.
Oh, boy.
She was also on This Is Us more recently. It's an NBC show. It's very also like soap opera-y.
Okay.
Very bouncing back in time kind of stuff. I have not watched it, but I know that a lot of people got very mad when they said a crock pot started a fire. Like crock-pot, like there's a character, I don't know what character, so like I'm not spoiling, spoiler alert possibly if you haven't seen This Is Us, but there's a character that died in a fire. Like, he's always in the flashbacks. He's never in the present day stuff. So like, people are like, what happened to him? And when he dies, it is from a crock pot. Like, the plug into the wall lights on fire and burns the house down, and he dies. And Crock-Pot had to put out a statement after that saying, all of our products are very safe. They will, if used properly, they will not start fires.
Word.
Which I didn't even watch the show, and I heard about that the next day because people were like, "Oh my God, I have to throw out my crock pot."
Oh wow.
And it's like,
I don't remember this.
It's a soap opera. And most recently, Jennifer Morrison directed the movie Sundogs, which is on Netflix. It's like an action movie. Got pretty good reviews. I have not seen it, but I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it at some point. Mm-hmm. So next up is Henry, who's played by Jared S. Gilmore, the quintessential child actor in a show of other adults. He's definitely most well known for Once Upon a Time, but he was also on Mad Men as the third actor to play Don Draper's son.
I was going to say, like, being a child actor, you don't really have a lot of history built up. Right, yeah. He's not going to have as much. Actually, most of the stuff I'm going to go into is what he did after.
Yeah, that's Once Upon a Time.
What has he done?
Since the series finale in 2018, he has kind of retreated from acting. His last known role was for the character Shalio in the English dub of Code Geass, Lelouch of the Resurrection.
Lelouch.
Lelouch, yeah.
I remember catching some episodes of Code Geass, but I never really got into it. Mm-hmm. I should give it another try.
Yeah, I read that he's doing more voice acting lately. Like, he's kind of... He left acting and now he's kind of going more into the voiceover kind of side. In March 2019, he was signed to the Overwatch League team Atlanta Reign as a streamer under the handle Cowboy BBAMF.
Oh, wow!
Right, yeah, right? And then after leaving Atlanta Reign, he signed with the Overwatch Contenders team Sky Foxes. And he currently streams on Twitch under the name Nightingale_Sticks. So
on Twitch?
Yes, on Twitch. He is an active streamer.
Wow.
Which is wild, actually.
That's really neat.
And in 2012, he actually won the Young Artist Award for Best Performance in a TV Series for Once Upon a Time for leading young actor, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Next up, we have Regina, played by Lana Parrilla, who I love forever.
Your queen.
She's been on a ton of shows, like 6 Feet Under and Medium, and she did have larger roles on the shows Boomtown, Swingtown, and 24. On April 30th, 2021, Parrilla actually released a song with Leonardo Abate, who goes over the stage name Glow Vibes, called It's Over Now, and it's a house remix and rearrangement of Deborah Cox's 1998 song of the same name, which... work, not...
I don't know the song, but go off.
Right. In 2021, she also launched an online clothing company called Keep It Regal, where she sells apparel inspired by your time on Once Upon a Time, which work. Love that. She's currently on season 2 of Women Who Kill, which is, I believe, on Paramount Plus. It's an anthology show that also had Jennifer Goodwin, who plays Snow White, in the first season of the show. And what I've read about it actually sounds really interesting. It's different women throughout history who have murdered their husbands or people, and kind of like going into the psychology and stuff, which I will probably check out because, it sounds interesting enough.
Neat.
For season 1, she won the TV Guide Award for Favorite Villain and the Alma Award for Outstanding TV Actress Drama, and was nominated for Teen Choice Award for Choice TV Villain and Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actress on Television. She also won the 2012 National Hispanic Media Coalition Impact Award, which celebrates the outstanding individuals dedicating themselves to creating a more inclusive entertainment industry through the positive portrayal of the Latinx community, both in front of and behind the camera.
Work.
And according to Edward Kitsis, one of the showrunners, her character, her outfits are all inspired by Alexander McQueen runway shows.
Oh.
Which, I'm sure now having seen
fashion,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I actually have a whole thing that I'll go into later about the costume design on this show, because it's just fascinating. There's so much to it.
Should we do, a costume by costume thing on socials?
Possibly. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter for that.
Yes.
So next up, Sheriff Graham, who's played by Jamie Dornan. He was originally supposed to play a different character than the one that he plays on the show. Mm-hmm. The show apparently could not get the TV rights to Sherlock Holmes in time for him to play Sherlock Holmes on the show. Probably due to the other 2 TV shows running at the time that had Sherlock on it. It was Elementary on CBS and the
Sherlock.
BBC Sherlock, right. So the role of Sheriff Graham was originally offered to a different actor, Sean Maguire, who does show up later in the show as a very different character. So stay tuned for him. Graham's leather jacket was made custom by Vancouver's Ocean Drive Leather, which also made Emma's jackets for the show.
Okay.
Jamie Dornan is probably most well known for playing the titular Grey in the 50 Shades of Grey movies, which I believe he's gone on record that he hated doing those. And he was also recently in the smash hit In My Heart, Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, with Kristen Wiig and Annie Mamillo, I believe is her name. If you have not seen this, Seth, you absolutely need to see this movie.
I am not aware of this.
Kristen Wiig plays the villain and one of the main characters, and Jamie Dornan is just kind of there as a himbo henchman that turns and becomes friend. It's a bonkers movie, and I love it. It's very in that vein of dumb kind of Austin Powers vibes for a movie.
Okay.
And he was most recently seen in the Kenneth Branagh movie Belfast, which is like a war movie, which does not do anything for me. You're not going to catch me watching that kind of stuff. He used to play in a folk band that toured with KT Tunstall.
Really?
Yeah. I couldn't find what instrument he plays, but it's out there. He was also a model for some very big brands, specifically Calvin Klein underwear, Abercrombie & Fitch, and Dolce & Gabbana.
I believe it.
In 2009, Calvin Klein unveiled a billboard of its jeans ad campaign in New York, featuring Eva Mendes and Jamie Dornan. This was accused of showcasing rude nudity, and native residents demanded its removal. There is no nudity on the billboard. I checked. And in 2006, he was named the Golden Torso by the New York Times.
I believe it.
Right. Also, just something interesting that I found about him. He's like an outspoken atheist, which you don't really see that much.
No, you don't.
I feel like if someone is an atheist, they just don't talk about religion that much. So next up, Snow White, played by Jennifer Goodwin. She is the second of the 3 actors that were the first choice for the role. She was by far, in a way, the first choice that the creators had for Snow White. Goodwin has stated in interviews that she would love to play Snow White before, and called her acceptance of the role an absolute no-brainer. Both Kitsis and Horowitz are self-described big fans of Goodwin's previous series Big Love on HBO, which was the polygamy drama show.
Okay.
I have not watched it.
I've not either.
I've heard very good stuff. Very more adult show than Once Upon a Time. But yeah, so they wrote Snow White with Jennifer in mind for that role.
Cool.
She was also in Walk the Line, playing Johnny Cash's first wife.
Okay.
Goodwin played the leading role as Margene Heffman, the third wife in a polygamous family on the HBO show Big Love. Goodwin has also done voice work in the Adult Swim series Robot Chicken, where her younger sister Melissa works as an animator.
Do you know, like, was it any kind of repeating role?
No, I think in the vein of, like, Robot Chicken, it's just, like, a lot of,
miscellaneous voices.
I'm sure we could look up and, like, find, but, yeah, I think it's just always, like, generic voices, background stuff, because, yeah, there's really no ongoing storyline with Robot Chicken.
No, but there's sometimes jokes that are brought back, so...
Right, yeah, like the nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's also in He's Just Not That Into You.
Okay.
And then she's probably most notably known for voicing Judy Hopps in Zootopia.
Oh.
Which I believe happened during the filming of Once Upon a Time. They overlapped. Zootopia, a very good movie. She's currently on the comedy Pivoting on Fox with Eliza Coupe from the last season of Scrubs and Happy Endings and just a lot of stuff. Delightful. And Jennifer Goodwin is also married to Josh Dallas, who plays Prince Charming. And they have 2 sons, and that's just cute.
Yeah.
Like, that's just absolutely adorable.
The romance characters just get together off screen as well. It's to see it actually working out, though.
And to actually stick, which is, obviously knock on wood, but, like, good for them. That's really cool. And, like, I will say, you can see it in their, like, as you watch more of the show, like, they have definite chemistry in it, and it's just kind of neat. I like that.
Cool.
So, speaking of the devil, Prince Charming, played by Josh Dallas. He is originally from Louisville, but he studied acting in England, where he was the member of the Royal Shakespeare Company.
Oh.
He's most known, besides from Once Upon a Time, for playing Fandral in the first Thor movie.
Really?
Yes. And then it was
never saw him again.
It was recast in the sequel by Zachary Levi. He is currently on the NBC show Manifest. It's actually a Netflix show because NBC canceled it after 3 seasons, and then Netflix picked it up for a 4th and final. And also, something that I just really like about it, he was in the Doctor Who episode Silence in the Library as Node 2.
Oh.
And then the last of the principal actors on the show is Rumpelstiltskin, who's played by Robert Carlyle. He's the 3rd actor who was the first choice for the character that they end up playing. The role of Rumpelstiltskin was given to Robert Carlyle, even though the writers initially didn't think he would take the part. He's been on record specifically saying that he took the part so he could have a movie that his kids could watch. Which is, I love that. That's very sweet. And they actually, Horowitz recalled during the prison sequence when he, like, drops down, that was something that Robert Carlyle specifically wanted to do. That wasn't scripted. That was something that he wanted to do. And they, like, everyone was, like, as soon as they did that scene, they knew he was the perfect actor for that part.
Gave a lot of personality to him.
Yes. And then, so he's been around in a lot of movies and shows for a really long time. His first major role was in 1994 in the ITV series Cracker, alongside Christopher Eccleston and Robbie Coltrane, who played Hagrid in the Harry Potter movies. Mm. Also, noted J.K. Rowling agreeer, which Robert Carlyle has also been in Trainspotting, The Full Monty, and the James Bond movie as the villain, The World Is Not Enough. He also voices the character of Gabriel Belmont and his counterpart Dracula in the video game Castlevania Lords of Shadow, as well as the sequels Mirror of Fate and Lords of Shadow 2.
I did not play Lords of Shadow 2, but yeah, Lords of Shadow 1 had a lot of really good voice acting on it.
Cool. Yeah, I've never been one for those games. Then he was also in Stargate Universe, which was like, he had been in that for a long time. Like, he was a main cast character, and the show got canceled. Once Upon a Time ended up filming in the same studio as Stargate, which I thought was
it's like coming home.
Yeah, he said exactly the same thing. It was a second home for him. Like, the offices were in the same spots. Like, it was just, I thought that was pretty neat. For his work on Stargate, he won a Gemini Award as well, which is pretty cool. He played John Lennon in the movie Yesterday, like that movie where it's like, oh, what if no one knew the Beatles? And
I don't remember.
It's okay. It's basically a guy hits his head.
Wait.
And then, like, everyone, no one knows the Beatles music, so he takes credit for writing all of the Beatles music. And there's a scene towards the end where he meets, like, John Lennon, who, if I remember right, is just, like, living on the beach or something. And this is Robert Carlyle, uncredited.
Wow. I think I do vaguely remember this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I hit my head.
It's pretty good. And then, well, like, in the end, it happens again, and he's like, wait, you don't remember Harry Potter? And I don't know, maybe that would be better. So, just another little tidbit, Rumpelstiltskin was the first play that Robert Carlyle ever saw when he was, like, in grade school.
Oh.
And the idea he got for Rumpelstiltskin's voice was from his son, just, like, walking around and, like, making goofy voices and stuff like that, which I thought that was charming and neat. But yeah, that's it. Those are the principal actors for the show. We'll get into the other ones as we go, but we've been talking about them for a very long time. So let's go ahead and get into the actual recap of the pilot episode.
Yes, absolutely. So it starts off with black background, white text that says, "There was an enchanted forest filled with all the classic characters we know, or think we know.
It's so ominous.
One day, they found themselves trapped in a place where all their happy endings were stolen. Our world. This is how it happened." And I love that, just being like so over the top. Nothing good happens in our world. There are no happy endings.
Somewhere horrible.
Modern day America. Maine. After that, it opens up to the prince riding on a horse coming up to the dwarves. Very green area, and then all of a sudden when he approaches the dwarves, there's snow. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. But the glass coffin is there, so presumably Snow White, as in the fairy tale, has been dead for 100 years.
Yeah, the OG Snow White started with the corset, then a poisoned hairpin, and then the apple, and you'll see. Stay tuned for that.
So, I guess they had just entombed her in the glass coffin. He wants to see her up close, and they're like, no. And he's like, no, I want to do it. Just open it for me. And they're like, okay, well, I guess.
We have to.
Yeah.
You are a prince, I suppose.
I noticed that they really tried to style the dwarves after the animated ones that we know, especially Doc and Dopey.
Yeah, Doc is pretty obvious.
Yes. After that, he wakes her up, and she's like, "You found me. I'll always find you." Well, the glass coffin gave me pause, and I'm like, "What? You were conscious for that?"
Yeah, it's it's a choice.
After that, it goes to their wedding, which is the ending of it is interrupted by the entrance of the Queen.
I mean, the Queen, come on.
And the words that I have here is, her walk is amazing.
Right?
She, walk skates
super
the fast past everyone. Oh my god. This is some early PlayStation polygon walking where the character is sliding with each step, and it's amazing.
She plays hockey.
I noticed that since Snow White is younger and fairer than the Queen, in this particular scene, to me, the Queen looks younger than Snow White.
Yeah, it's kind of that's kind of what happens when most of the actors in the show are played by people the same age. Like, Jennifer Goodwin and Jennifer Morrison were apparently, like, really just good friends outside of work before this, which it's like, oh, that's cute. I like that.
And I would like to show you and have you read the exact note as she's giving, that I put for as the queen is giving her speech.
Okay. Drama queen.
Drama, spelled DRAWMA, because she is laying it on thick.
She brings it to you every ball. But yeah, like, she just eats the scenery in every scene that she's in a way that I respect so much.
Yes.
Because, like, she takes this material and elevates it so much. Like, every scene she's in is just, like, a standout for me.
After that, Prince Charming threatens her and she's about to leave and he says, wait, and throws the sword at her, which, again, the CGI, amazing. Like,
she just, like, turns into smoke and, like, vanishes.
Oh my god.
I kind of wish we had heard the sword just, like, clattering on the ground.
Yes, that would be so good. After that, it cuts to Boston, apparently. Little boy, we find out eventually, is Henry, is on the bus being, like, innocent, snarky to some old lady who
yeah,
is
like,
then,
it was like I don't know, maybe this is just a me thing, but if I was a kid riding a bus that I'd never gone to meet a birth mother and I was reading a book, I would not respond to someone, oh, how's your book?
It's not just fairy tales.
If you weren't sure that the show takes itself a little seriously at times, welcome to Once Upon a Time.
And then he gets off the bus, finds a cabbie, and has a credit card. And I'm like, well, he's acting like a full 30-year-old, so sure. After that, it cuts to a restaurant scene. Emma walks in trying to be the only Kristen Bell impersonator. Meets up with her blind date with an awkward start to the conversation because we gotta get that plot running.
Yeah, you have to know that she is an orphan. It's important. And it's her birthday.
And she has no family. She has no friends. She's very much a loner.
Right.
The show needs to tell you, because how else could it show you?
It's a pilot. I'll let stuff slide. It's a pilot.
She is a bail bonds person. Thank you very much.
Progressive.
Yes.
We love her.
Go girl boss. You better piss.
That's an IMHO reference if you're not aware. That's not just something that Seth just said. Because watch IMHO on YouTube. In my homosexual opinion, they're girl bosses.
Yes.
Anyway.
After Chad Michael Murray type guy starts running.
Generic white guy that is, like, probably doing white collar crime, as we find out.
Absolutely. I note that the Black Keys Howlin' For You is playing.
I also took that very, and I don't mean this in a bad way, that dates this episode, you know? Like, it's like, you know exactly when that song was super popular. It's a good song.
It is.
I'm not saying it's not, like, a good thing. I'm just like, yeah, it's like, this aired on TV in 2011. When
it also just kind of stood out as being, like, the only copyrighted, like, the only pop music.
Yeah, I was really interested by that, because I don't remember, and I could be completely wrong, I don't remember them using a lot of copywritten songs. So I was kind of thrown off by that, but I don't know, maybe my memory is wrong, and we'll get some other, early aughts pop bangers.
Yeah. I was certainly the only one in this episode, and it just stood out to me because
it's like the Black Keys.
Yeah, they're really good. After she catches the guy, she gets home and bursts in, like, drunk, I guess. She went out and just had a rager because she's stumbling in.
No, I think I didn't get that she was drunk. I
Okay.
got that she was just taking her shoes off because she like chased after a guy
Okay.
in heels. That's my take on it.
Okay, so maybe that. I noted that the outside of her door, like the apartment door, opens inward, and it has this weird flowery script on it.
Doesn't feel like her, right?
It doesn't feel like an apartment would
So-
have that on the outside.
I did look that up. That is a thing. Apparently, where they were filming, it was an actual apartment. Which also, I have to say, she's supposed to be 28 years old, and she has that nice of an apartment in downtown Boston. That is the only thing about this show that is unrealistic, and that is the hill I will die on. But yeah, no. Apparently,
After the financial crisis, like if this was 2007, maybe 2011. No.
But yeah, so the building that they filmed that in, like, just had that on there, and like, you can't see what it says in the episode, but apparently it says it's a like fairy tale kind of stuff.
Okay.
And the set designer was just like, oh, we'll just leave it. That's, it's thematic, even though it does not fit for Emma at all.
So that wasn't intentional. That was just part of.
That was just where they were, which that's kind of neat. I did like that, even though it's like it doesn't fit her character. It's a neat touch.
After she stumbles in, she brings out the cupcake, puts the candle in. It's her birthday, and I'm like, well, I guess
she can cry if she wants to.
She can. I guess she wasn't lying, because for some reason you're telling your God honest truth to a person you're intending to have arrested.
It's a tone of realism. Every lie comes from a place of realism.
Yeah. Her name is Emma Swan, and she is startled by the boy that appears, Henry. It's her son, apparently. When she says she doesn't have a son, he's like, yeah, you do. And it's like, who would remember more if they have a son?
Yeah, right? You think she would remember that. I mean, as it comes out, yeah, he is
I guess
her
it
son.
is true, but like, what a first reaction.
I think it's probably more of like shock. That's like, wait, what? I gave you up. I mean, that's my take on it. But yeah, it is like a hold on, wait, what?
Yeah, very abrupt thing to have approach you in life, especially one that's speaking as eloquently as this one.
yeah, this like 10-year-old boy that speaks like a 30-year-old writer.
Uh-huh. He says he wants to take her back home, and the name of his home is Storybrooke. And she's like, Storybrooke? You kidding me? As if she were already in the conceit of the show.
Yeah.
Like, she has no idea the fairy tales are real thing even happens yet. That happens a little bit. And now she's like, isn't that a little folksy?
Wait, that is before... I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
she has that reaction before she knows about the fairy tale stuff.
Mm-hmm. Because he tells her in the car.
Wild. I do love her yellow bug. That's cute. I think it's just a really striking visual.
I didn't write down the license plate number. It didn't immediately strike me as anything that would be relevant. But they take that drive, and Storybrooke really does seem like a New England, Maine name.
Speaking of, I have some notes about that.
Yes,
so,
please.
Storybrooke, like at least the exterior scenes were filmed in the neighborhood of Steveston in Richmond, British Columbia.
Okay.
So like they actually like shut down the entire downtown whenever they'd be filming an outside thing.
Oh.
Which is like pretty cool. When they film on the main street, they install signage over existing businesses, which apparently, according to the behind the scenes featurette that I watched, can take up to like 10 hours sometimes, like depending on the shots that they need to get.
Installing the signs or the filming?
All of the above.
Oh.
There is in this this is a behind the scenes featurette that's on the DVD about the town. There's a bread shop that the owner is just delightful. Like he's just really excited about making bread and talking about making bread. And I was like, this guy, he gets it. Like he makes this bread. There's also an ice cream shop in town that made flavors based on characters on the show. And each character had like a signature flavor, which I thought is really cool. The Once Upon a Time ice cream flavor was a custard that had thyme poached in honey, which I could absolutely fuck with. That sounds really good.
It does.
Right?
I don't know if it's like a regular flavor, but that would be absolutely something I would love to try.
Oh, right. Well, and shocker, the fact that a show filmed in this town is a big tourism draw. Like, you can actually buy, like, you know, like, the visitor's guide to Storybrooke and, like, go to, like, locations that were filmed.
I believe that.
It's cute.
Yep.
But yeah, the town is very charming, and anytime I find information out about it, it's really cool.
Would you say it's very Prince Charming?
No, he's in the hospital.
We don't find out about that until later. We will get there. So they are driving in her little yellow bug, and then it cuts back to the past with Snow White and the prince, and they're going to the dungeon, and I have written down him, Rumpelstiltskin from the trailer, because they refer pronoun him.
Right.
So that's
you
what
called it.
Yep. And the first thing I note, he's so sweaty.
He's not sweaty, it's like shiny makeup.
I guess.
But yeah, in the he does look very shiny.
Yes.
In the dark. Like I totally, or very sweaty.
Yes. So, yeah, he's very dirty, very sweaty, gold nails that are supposed to be, I guess, yellowed. Mm-hmm. But I guess I didn't know that Rumpelstiltskin is a prophet.
As you'll find out with Once Upon a Time, Rumpelstiltskin's a lot.
Okay.
Rumpelstiltskin is a lot of things in this show.
He had a deal. And he got the name Emma.
Yep.
Cut back to present day. They're getting out of the bug. He lives on 44, not gonna tell you, and she's just like, I freaking can't. This is why I don't like kids.
I was literally on a date earlier, and I just wanted my cupcake. This kid came into my house and stole my juice.
Mama wants a bath and a glass of wine.
Right?
We meet Archie, who walks up with his Dalmatian, instantly makes me think of 101 Dalmatians.
Of course.
But we find out almost immediately that is wrong. Archie is actually Jiminy Cricket.
Of course.
People don't remember who they are. From then on, it cuts back to the past. There is a round table. People that I noticed that were present at the round table: Prince, Snow White, Jiminy Cricket, Red Riding Hood, and Grandma.
Who's knitting at the table.
Yep.
Love that for her.
There are 3 dwarfs total, Doc and 2 others that I could not identify visually. We find out shortly after, later in the scene, Geppetto and Pinocchio, and 4 other people that did not get names or lines. Mm-hmm. They're discussing what to do, and enter the Blue Fairy, which instantly makes me remember the trailer with the blue bird, and I'm like, oh.
Stay tuned.
Close-ups of the Very Queen makes me think she looks very Ben de la Creme.
Yeah. Yeah, very much that.
So we find out that Pinocchio can carve this tree into something that will save someone from the curse.
You mean Geppetto, right?
What did I say?
I think they both do it. But, like, it is, I will note that Pinocchio is a real boy at this point.
Yes, I did notice that. Pinocchio is a real boy. They don't have to add any special effects. Very time-saving. Yes.
Just wait.
God. So Geppetto and Pinocchio are going to carve this thing to save people from the curse. Cut back to present day. Henry says he doesn't have parents, just an evil mom. So
dramatic.
Yes.
But also his mom's dramatic too, so...
You don't understand me, Mom. It's not just a phase.
I got a book from my teacher, and now you're evil.
And so Emma's
Wait,
just...
is that what the right-wing people think?
Oh my god, it makes sense.
I got a book from my teacher, and now I'm gay, Mom. And you're evil.
Emma is just listening to all this and taking it in and being like, yeah, sure, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
She says that she doesn't believe it, but she's acting like she does.
Well, she has her superpower.
Yeah, she can tell when people are lying. So she's really believing it, and then the door opens to reveal the mayor, Regina, and who is that guy? 'Cause, Graham is what I have in my notes.
Yeah, Sheriff Graham, just a babe. Just
Very
absolute babe.
So they go inside the house. She offers apple cider. We saw this in the trailer, which is very, of course she's the evil queen because lots of apple themes. There's portraits. There's
just a rim shot.
Very cut down to the bowl of apples.
The camera that moves down and that comes to see, you can see the bowl of apples.
They talk. Emma leaves. Was there anything? I don't remember anything important in the conversation, really.
No, it is weird. So the queen invites her in to have some cider. They sit down. And she's like, "Oh, I should be going." Gets up and leaves. It's like, why did you go into her office other than for? They wanted the shot of the apple.
I mean,
it is like, I even watching it now, I was like, that they don't do much. And although this time Regina is very cordial and like very almost nice.
Yeah.
Which does not last.
We will get there. So afterwards, Emma is driving home, which I guess at night you're just driving from Maine to Boston. Must be nice to live in a place where all the towns are that close together.
Yeah, right? I wonder. That's a 4-hour drive.
Yeah.
It was easily 10 o'clock at night. Like, when they pull up the Storybook, they comment, like, oh, it's so late.
And
like,
it's so late, it is, the clock is stopped, it's 8. But, like, you get the feeling that it's after 8, so...
Yeah, it's way... Yeah, it's like night. Like
yeah.
It had to be, like, 10 or 11. And she was gonna do a 4-hour drive... and that's just, general Maine to Boston.
She was legit gonna do that. But she's not gonna, because Psyche, the big bad wolf, or a wolf, is on the road, and she swerves because PETA don't fuck around. And while she's unconscious, the storybook that was left in her car opens and starts flipping. We see Wizard of Oz, we see Alice in Wonderland, and then page flips to Geppetto carving the tree, which is a very nice transition back to a flashback. Mm-hmm. I have no notes of that flashback. I think it's just like that things are happening.
It's them working on it. And it's, because Snow White is, like, she has her little bird up on her castle parapet, and it's her and Charming talking about, who should go. And at that point, it's her, because she still has the baby, and
the baby's supposed to be the future.
Right, and she said, I don't want to go, I don't want to be away from you for 28 years, and then, then it cuts down to Geppetto and Pinocchio working on the magic door.
And then cut back to the present. Emma wakes up in jail. Marco is there, and that's got to be Geppetto. Leroy is in the next cell.
Who do you think? Because you've also seen him as one of the dwarfs.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm not sure.
Which dwarf do you think he is? Just go ahead and make a call.
Grumpy.
Stay tuned.
Leroy was the next line I had, followed by Hot Dad is Sheriff. Then Mary Margaret Blanchard, they go to see her. It's Snow White, because she's very fairy tale princess. If she could not be more fairy tale princess in this classroom scene than if she were walking down between the children's desks on Ballet Point singing.
She goes to the window with a bird on her hand, and it's clearly a color-coded green parakeet that they turned blue. Mm-hmm. For the Disney of it all. I have some notes about that, actually.
Yes.
So the classroom that Mary Margaret is teaching in also doubles as a classroom in the Neverending Story.
Oh!
Yeah, it's the same set.
Oh!
The Mary Margaret receives not an apple from her student at school, but a pear. And that was an idea that Jennifer Goodwin had, because Mary Margaret does not like apples.
She shouldn't. Well, I mean, I don't think that came up this episode, but like thematically, Snow White and apples,
right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that's a really nice touch, and I do really like that the actors of the show really have that input. And like any other long running show, most of the lead actors do become producers as the show goes on. So nice. You'll see more of that.
So class gets out. The Queen and Regina and Emma come in, and I note the size of these books that Regina knocks over. Those are just angrily
books. like that exit is just.
But like those books are huge for grade school children, and I noticed the top one said biology. I don't remember biology in grade school.
Well, isn't she like an art teacher?
I don't think they say anything.
Yeah, no, they
definitely did have art projects on their desk.
It's definitely elementary school.
Yes.
That is for sure. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's something about how if they've been frozen there for 28 years, these kids should be in their 30s. So maybe...
But they're still doing art projects?
Yeah, they never really talk too much about the specifics of that, but there are kids in Storybrooke. And do you think that it's a little strange for them to realize that, like, oh, our classmate is growing up? Like, because the thing is, the reason I bring it up is Snow White has not aged. Evil Queen does not look like she has aged.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it would go to reason that the kids would stay the same age. But Henry was adopted, so he's clearly grown up.
He has, yep.
So, like, I don't know, is it like a thing where at the end of the year they reset?
Right. We're unclear, like, is it something that, like, the town is only populated by people who are part of this curse?
Yes, that is...
Okay.
That's 100%.
Only populated by that. Henry is the only one not under the effects of the curse.
Right.
Because he was Emma's child and was adopted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then cut back to the wardrobe being carved, but they note it only fits one person. And so they're deciding Snow White is giving birth, and they can't move her to the wardrobe. And
the cord, it's very, you know that meme from Legend of Korra where it's like, the Equalists are attacking, the baby's coming, and prom is tomorrow! It's very, like, the curse is here!
Yep.
I'm having the baby!
But it only fits one person.
Mm-hmm.
So only one person can go. It was going to be Snow White. But now it can't be Snow White. Because now the baby's separate, so the baby has to be the one to go.
It's very fairy tale logic. You know, it's like, and I know we are absolutely overanalyzing this, but
we
what
are
do you expect?
Absolutely. In the following scene, Prince Charming brings baby Emma to the wardrobe, puts her in...
Okay, I do love that badass fight scene where it's like one hand with a sword, the other with a baby.
Yes.
That's pretty... I did like that.
Even though paws blocking the sword from going on.
Even though he absolutely does the mistake of stage combat where you don't turn around. Like, why don't turn your back to the people with swords? It's always... that's how you get stabbed.
But it's flair.
Yeah, exactly. It's that Errol Flynn flair, the fairy tale stuff. A lot of the stuff in the show is hand-waved with fairy tale stuff.
That's fine. We get to overanalyze.
Yes. Very excited about it.
He puts her in the wardrobe, not even an hour after being birthed.
Yeah.
Puts her in the wardrobe, locks it, is stabbed and quote-unquote dies at the moment. And they smash open the door and she is gone. Then cut to present time. Emma finds Henry in his castle made from driftwood, I guess.
It's a playground. It's like a playground that's right next to the beach, but yeah, it looks like a very...
The playground has so much driftwood and debris. It's on this random-ass peninsula that's looking out along the coast.
Seth, that's just Maine.
Speaking of looking at this shot along the coast, the clock tower they point out still hasn't moved.
Yeah,
looks photoshopped in.
So fun fact. So the clock tower was never actually there. It's always CGI'd in.
No.
There are some scenes where they're in town where they like put, because that's the library building of the actual town.
Okay.
So they built like a topper essentially to go on top of the library. So most of the time it is fully CGI'd when you see it.
Yep.
Which, yeah, it's like, it's a little obvious.
Yep. Caught that. Clocked.
Clocked that.
They start talking. He says his life sucks so much with her. It's terrible. I've had an awful life. And then she just starts pouring her life out to him.
Unloads on this child.
Because we need to get this plot going. We need to know her backstory and skip past everything.
Clearly no one in this show, aside from Henry, apparently has ever talked to a therapist.
Because he is a 30-year-old man. After this scene, cut back to the past. Snow White finds Prince Charming apparently dead.
Mm-hmm.
And
I have to give her props. After giving birth, walking through a castle, that's like work.
So clean.
Yeah. Fairy, she's Snow White. She's always gonna look good.
Evil Queen walks in. Why are you doing this? Because this is my happy ending.
Oh, love her.
And so, where are we going?
Somewhere horrible.
Our world.
Yeah, to Maine.
Back to present day. Brings Henry back to Regina's house.
Again.
And
welcome to that ongoing thread.
And so they start to have a conversation on the front doorstep. And Regina...
They were both doing work in this scene.
Yeah.
They... acting.
And, Regina has a lot of really good points. You
honestly
gave up your child. You have no legal rights here. You did not want to be here.
Get out of here.
Everything.
Never let me see you again.
Yeah.
Or I will end you, I think is almost verbatim what she says.
Yeah, I will do the best I can to end your life or whatever. And it is just... mwah.
And then Emma has the gall to ask, do you love him?
Yes.
And like, the look that she gets is just like...
dare you?
Yeah, it's like, of course I do.
But it's her special power to know if she's lying. Cut up to Henry's room. He is being tragic on his bed.
Did you notice the lamp that had swans on it?
No, but I did notice the Goosebumps book on his nightstand, specifically The Headless Ghost.
Stay tuned to see if that's anything.
And then there is back to Regina. She has the storybook, and she walks up to a mirror. And pan down to the name of the book. The book is the name of the show, boy. Yee! We got him. Cut next to a hospital. Mary/Snow White is a volunteer because she's a perfect princess angel saint.
Of course.
And pan into another room where we have John Doe is the prince is alive. I expected the show to end there. I did. I fully expected that the credits were going to run, but it keeps going. Mm-hmm. Goes to Granny's B&B, and inside we find Red Riding Hood and Grandma. Red is a scene kid, and we stan.
Yes. Little Red is great. She's
Perfect.
So good.
Emma tries to get her room. Rumpelstiltskin, or Mr. Gold, appears. He owns this place. What, the hotel? No, the town. I own 91% of this village. She gets the only room that has a big old-timey key. Everything else has a modern, smaller key. She has
I did not notice
huge latch key.
With a stork on it, by the way.
And then the clock ticks 1 minute and Henry smiles.
End of episode.
End of episode.
Nice. So, what did you think? Overall, did you think it was better quality than you expected, lower quality?
Hard to tell because pilot episodes always have a different level of quality than the rest of a series. And I've only seen the one episode so far. Mm-hmm. I can say that I've seen this even once. Got him!
We got him.
I think that it absolutely is a product of its time, quality-wise. Mm-hmm. It would have benefited from baking up for a few more years to get that CGI to look like PS2 level.
Yeah, just a little bit longer for that technology to be, because they really do rely a lot on green screen shots.
I imagine that things are going to get better as the seasons go on, between being more established and like more the technology money, itself getting better as time goes on.
So I do have some notes that just we didn't touch on as we went through the episode. The critical response to the first season was generally positive. Mm-hmm. On Metacritic, it was given a score of 66 out of 100 with generally favorable reviews. Kristen Dos Santos cited the show as one of the 5 new shows to watch that season. Matthew Gilbert of the Boston Globe gave the show a C+, commenting, "From a pair of lost producers, this is a love or hate proposition. The ambition is impressive, as it asks us to imagine Goodwin's Snow White and Paria's Evil Queen as moderns, but Morrison is a wooden lead, and the backstories, a random collection of fairy tales, don't promise to surprise."
Yeah, I'll accept that. She was a little bit stiff through most of it. It was very, like, she had to stand there and deliver lines, and deliver lines she did.
I'm willing to believe that it was a character choice.
Okay.
Because you have to remember, I mean, she was an orphan. She did not have a childhood, essentially. So, like, it's interesting watching it from that side of things. Because, obviously, as we do more, like, there's flashbacks about fairy tale, and we also do get flashbacks about Emma as well. So you do kind of get to fill in a lot of those blanks.
Okay.
The Mary McNamara of the LA Times preferred this series to another fairy tale themed drama, Grimm, which aired on NBC, which was, I think, much more of like a copy show, like not as in copy and replace, but like as in propaganda show about fairy tale stuff.
Okay. I remember that existing.
A lot of feminist outlets were really pleased by the show and how it highlighted women rather, as part of the action, rather than just letting the men do, like, the sword fighting and stuff. And
it definitely would have passed the Bechdel test.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I think I would be shocked if there was an episode of the show that did not pass the Bechdel test.
Oh, good.
And, like, the creators have been very, like, on record that, like, they specifically wanted to have a show that wasn't just, oh, the women are going to, do, like, quote-unquote, women things, and the men get to fight dragons and stuff. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff, especially for the time. Because you gotta remember, this was, like, a while ago. So, it's nice to see. This episode has the highest ratings of any episode in the entire series.
Oh!
Yeah, it's a pretty strong pilot, as pilots are concerned. So Prince Charming was originally supposed to die this episode.
Okay.
But the writers decided that it would be really difficult for the show to continue without him because they wanted to give Snow White her happy ending. And the change was actually prompted to them by a studio executive that said, wouldn't your through line be stronger if he does not die?
I am loath to give credit to studio executives, but...
And then also, kind of in that vein, the scene at the end with him in the hospital and Mary Margaret leaving flowers was originally supposed to air in the 3rd episode. But they moved it earlier, so there was no, like, is he or is he alive kind of thing.
Okay.
And I mean, he's in a coma, so there is still a is he or isn't he alive question.
Schrodinger's prince.
Yes, exactly. So last couple notes I have here about the costuming. Eduardo Castro was the costumer. The pilot was filming when Superman Man of Steel was experiencing a delay. So a lot of the shop staff that he got for Once Upon a Time were people who were also working on Superman, who eventually were like, no, this is more interesting. And I would say, yes, this is more interesting than Man of Steel.
Neat.
He specifically wanted a sense of couture with all the costumes, and there's this bit in the behind the scenes thing that I watched where he's talking to the showrunners about a character's costume that you've not met that's supposed to be like in tatters, and he says, and I quote, "We'll show you the stages of tatters before we go too far. I don't want it to be so tattered that she looks like she's in the chorus of Les Miserables." And it cuts to the showrunners, and they look lost. And I think it's like the funniest thing.
Oh my god!
Because like this very gay man, like talking to these two very straight guys.
I don't want her to look like she's in Les Mis.
What? But yeah,
oh my god.
I that tickled me. But yeah, the costumes in the show are really very good. I'll probably have some more notes as we go for specific pieces because there are some looks
like that gray suit that Regina wore.
Oh yeah, as the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
They apparently I did have this one ready. I just read this. They made a lot of her Regina like mayor suits custom.
Oh,
because she preferred like the high-waisted cut, and that's just not easy to find,
It
or at least
works for
wasn't at that time. So their costume department made a lot of costumes.
And you were talking about the jackets earlier that were all being custom made.
Those were outsourced, but still, like, I mean, they had to, I mean, like, because the sheriff's leather jacket, Emma's leather jacket, they're all custom. And, like, I mean, as most costumes on the show are, much more so than, like, a lot of TV shows airing at that time, because, like, this is a really high-concept show. It's not like you can just, for about half of the show, you can just go to a store and you know, buy clothes that will fit someone, but you're not going to find, you know, these, like, elegant gowns and stuff just at a Macy's.
Speaking of costuming, some of the crowd that was at Snow White and the Prince's wedding, some of them looked Hunger Games-ish. Like,
yes, yeah.
Very District 1.
Yeah, I love, I did note, whenever I see a crowd scene, I do try to watch the extras. I loved how...
see if you can see them repeated and...
No, not just that, but, like, how, just, like, see if anyone's doing something a little weird. Like, the people who were just to the right of the evil queen, like, it was weird, because, like,
that's
everyone
what
was,
I was thinking
not
of.
looking at her. They were, like... But, yeah, those two women...
The one with, like, the heart-shaped ruff.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, they had 300 extras for that wedding scene.
Wow!
I know, which is, for a pilot, a lot.
Yeah, I would have expected that they, like, pack everyone into one section and then digitally copy-paste that into
I'm sure there was a fair amount of that, but they did have, like, 300 people that were in full costume, mind you.
That's a lot.
It's really a lot. It's really cool.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, this is a really high-quality show for the budget that they had, which, I mean, all things considered, was not giant compared to a lot of shows at the time. And in some ways you can tell. But generally, I think they do a really good job of getting their money's worth, doing all that stuff. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Neat.
So the next episode of the show.
Yes, the next episode
titled,
is called The Thing You Love Most.
Exactly. What do you think's going to happen in that?
Originally, I was thinking that there was going to be some leads towards Snow White being prompted to go look at John Doe. Honestly, your note about the coma scene not supposing to have been until episode 3 kind of dissuades me from that. So I am thinking that now it is going to be more of a revelation for Emma, kind of realizing everything and coming into this is legit.
Oh, I do need to be here.
So that she is realizing that she is here, that she is part of this, and the family is what her family and her hopes are, what she needs and what she loves the most.
Nice. I think that is a good call. I'm not going to tell you if you're right. But anyway, thank you so much for listening to Not Even Once. You can find us on Twitter at Not Even Once Pod and Instagram at Not Even Once Pod. We are going to be sharing some different things. One of the things we're going to be doing, I think I mentioned this in our last episode, was we are going to be keeping a track of the family tree at any given moment.
Very excited for that, Webb.
Yes. Oh, it is very quickly going to become a lot more complicated than you might even think.
Now, specifically family or just like relationship web?
Yes.
Yes. Good. Very good.
But thank you again so much for listening. You can also, if you want to join us on our Discord, we do have that. If you go to either our Twitter or Instagram, you can click on the link tree in the bio, and you can join our Discord and talk about the show with us. And if you wanted to talk to me on Twitter, I'm at TheKidAin'tRight.
I am at Recycled Sarcasm.
And thank you again so much for listening. We'll see you next week with the thing you love most.